Hello everyone, I am here with the live stream action. I hope it is working out well. I got it on the right quality. The audio should be good. Hopefully there's no echo. I'll test that out maybe in a minute. And I will be doing more live streams similar to this, and maybe I can improve my form with more experience. Looking at the camera is probably a good idea. Could be intense. Now, variety of topics I want to cover, but the one that this is titled is The Only You Is You. I will get into that more, but first, I would like to say it's nice to have all you checking these things out. The show continues to blossom. We blossom along the way. Now, the only you is you. Nobody else has your same path, the same pieces. Nobody. Nobody has the same pieces that I have, or things I had to work on, or have improved on, or still need to work on, or who I met at different times. What's one of my pieces? I wrote 350 articles on a website at some point. Doing that, I got a lot of experience. I connected with people, some that I still talk to this day. Recently, Srinivas, which was from 2008, 9, 10, 11, when I was writing on my site, Timeless Information. All the things you do impact who you are today. I've seen things about how to make impactful statements. I'm trying to bring some of that to this discussion right now. Some of the editing ability, the audio ability, the video, the presentation, the form, the moment, all these things I want to bring to it. The only way you get to where you would like to be is showcasing who you are right now and going in that direction. So I would like to be doing something like this and or with people on a regular basis. Who knows how to add people to this? Not sure. A couple of alerts here. But you can only get there by trying repeatedly. So clearly some steps have been made. Let me check first if an echo exists on this stream before I continue. I'm going to listen in online for a moment. Let's take a look here. I want to see if there's some sort of echo. And I think there is not. Nope. No echo. This is a good sign for the live streams. No echo and the audio is good. So back to the topic. The only you is you. So nobody else does all the things like you do. Nobody else does whatever this is that I'm doing. Nobody's doing all of that with my background, the happenings, the goals, the direction, none of that. Even if somebody tried to copy this live stream right here, they couldn't do it as me. They would do it as them with some clear differences you would notice. Even if they use the same recording setup and all that. You can't be the other. You are you. You can't be the other. So the best way probably is I turn. No, this way is good. Always seems like I'm angled. Is it because I'm looking at that? I could look at that screen. Not bad. Interesting. These are things behind the scenes. Now, because the only you is you, what does that mean? That means that you've got a real opportunity to showcase that nobody else can do. I wrote various articles a long time ago, so I have article experience. I connected with people, so I have connection with people experience. I like to say things in a certain way, maybe use large words at times occasionally. Coagulation was one of my favorite words at one point. Am I using that word now? Not really, because we have periods in our existence where we do different things. When the only you is you, that means self-esteem. You have to represent for that, which is all of your aspects. If you're not representing for it, who will? Who will be that person? I don't know who they would be. Could they be here? Could they be there? Could they be anywhere? Could they be anywhere? Audio test. They could be anywhere. Now, some of the people I've seen doing live streams, one is, I want to also tag people, so that's where I'll get started in this. Aaron's Journal. Aaron has a channel where he started talking about his lack of success at a certain point in his life. He was very honest and open, and his channel started booming. So I'll probably tag it maybe in the title or description of this live stream so Aaron knows. But I see other channels sometimes, and what is their feature that stands out? With his, it was that he showcased, this is where I'm at right now. Things have not worked out. Most people don't do that. So he set himself apart immediately. When I watched it, I thought to myself, wow, this is very open. He talked about his autism and where he's at currently. And also he talked about some music making he's done. He showcased where he's at in existence right now with all the variables. And that has gone quite well. And thousands of people have jumped onto his material, which is cool. He showcased it. Now, let's say he didn't. He wouldn't have 15,000 or 20,000 or however many people checking out his material and 300 people watching him on a live stream. That wouldn't occur because he held it back. He would have held it back. And the only person that would know that he held it back would have been him. Nobody else. Other people might have checked with him on certain topics in life, but would they know specifically? No. So if you don't showcase yourself, you're the only one who feels it the most. I just realized if there are chats, I wouldn't even know about them. I forgot if there was a place where chats would be in this. So I probably have to check on there. That's another thing to repair at some point. Well, I'm logged in there. But the more you try something, the more it goes toward. So Aaron's journal, that's one. There's another show which has I forgot the name, Get a Job podcast. That one, a guy and his companion talking. They've been doing great, showcasing their casual nature. Two individuals right next to each other, sharing their thoughts. Their channel's rolling great, and they've done a good job of being who they are. They're in a pairing right now, and they're showcasing their pairing. And they talk about things that matter to them. They might be simple. It doesn't have to be complex. It can be simple. Maybe simple resonates with even more people. And they put the title of Get a Job because that might be the thing that they heard from individuals when they described making their show. So they just took that and put it as their pillar. You can take the items that people would describe of you and use them for you, as described in the Eminem 8 Mile phenomenon, where he took the attacks that would be on him and then mentioned them during his rap. If you take the things that are being described of you or the limitations appearing to be set on you and you don't accept them, but you just showcase, hey, look, this is what it is as a third-party observer, suddenly their weight is gone. It works in your benefit at that point. You've turned what would have been a limiting form into a, look at this. It's not only light-natured, but now you have turned it into a positive. You're showcasing it as part of your story, and people resonate with story. That's storytelling. When you do storytelling, others with their own story have somewhere to relate to. If you don't do storytelling, they have no linkage point because you gave them nothing for the Velcro on the shoe strap to connect with. The Velcro needs little curved parts to link to when you push down on it. So if you don't give some items of yours, how can people link to your story? There's nothing. This is you, a hard rock with no showcasing. Oh, can't link to that. So that's a limitation of sorts. On the numbers, I believe this is 402, by the way. I don't know if I mentioned that at the beginning of the episode, but this should be episode 402. And expect more live streams on the way, similar to this. And if I can figure out how to add individuals, well, then there we will go. Because that would be super duper. And would not only be live stream, but it would be a live stream episode with others that then goes straight into the show. And then I can put other bits on the beginning and end, which is pretty cool with the power of technology. And the audio should be clear on both ends. Now, back to the topic. If the only you is you, what does this mean? It means you can create a whole framework of the things that you do. And that is numero uno. That's the priority. The things that matter to you, how you function, you make that a Google Docs page. And that's the world of you. That world, you expand on it. Because that's the one that makes sense. All the other stuff people are handing to you from the outside, that might be connected with their world. But the things that speak to you, that's your base to expand on. When you do this, maybe within 6 months, you will have really expanded on things you would have left alone for years if you didn't realize these are me. These are things that connect with who I am or what I believe, what I want to see, what matters, what's interesting. Like maybe for me, some books are cool, so I could expand on them, make a list of the books that I've read, who I've spoken with, the authors, bring them in for a group session. That's neat. Yours might be something else. There's even another viewer than me right now, which is pretty neat. But until you figure out the thing that is your item, whatever that may be, you cannot expand on it. So making a Google Docs list might be step one. Now you have this list. These are the things. You just build on it. Stacking things on top of each other in the world that is you. And if you don't think that will build self-esteem in the process, I don't know what to say on that, but it would, in fact. So, what do we do about this information? Somebody else has their own world, you have yours, and you have some features of it that you may have listed. You could look back and see, in the last 5 years, what have I done on these? Not what people told me, but on these that are me. It's like a reflection. We talked about this with Charlotte Greisel, doing a bit of reflection before you can go forward. So you look back and you say, what have I done in the category that is me in the last 6 months, 1 year, 5 years? Did I make a spreadsheet of all the books? Did I write a bunch of paragraphs of quotes that I think of so that I can showcase them? Did I make something for myself that I can wake up to and read in the morning? You could make your own morning read. I know somebody who's done that. Casper Kazazian, who was on the show before, he would make his own morning message to himself from him. Who else can make that for him as accurately? Nobody. But because he made that, then he could wake up, read what his prior self knew is good for him, and use that to move forward. That can build some real strength, because who's going to be more caring for you than yourself, or know all your facets, or how to adjust that microphone? Nobody. It's all about your expertise with your framework of many years, because you've been here a long time. Let's not disregard that. Unless you are about 2 years old right now, which would be interesting, you have many years of seeing you in progress. So we don't want to let that slip away. We can't let that slip away. It's like knowledge base that only you have built. One thing I might do, for example, is look at, I've been a creator for a long time. So looking at my creations over time, mapping that out, maybe making a timeline of my creations, what I figured out at each step, what it meant to me, where I am now, what I can use from past creations, that's a big deal. Let's say somebody else is not a creator. That would now be useless. But maybe they're a finance person, and they can see their financial wins and losses over time, where they put investments out there, things that didn't work. Maybe you make a map of your your time across years and years and years, that can push you to suddenly see, wait a minute, oh, this is where I'm at currently in the financial world. This is where I'm at currently in the content creation world. This is where I'm at currently in education or business or sports, fitness, whatever, any of the popular domains or your specific domain. You have this cool story. Some people are just internet folks who were on internet forums for many years, and they have a record of the people they were with and the channels they ran with 30 members and 100 members and 200 members. That's a cool story. Knowing your story is super. Now, showcasing it is one thing. That's great. Not everybody wants to showcase. But before that is even knowing the story you've had up until now. What was it? Who have you reached? How did you reach yourself? What's the difference between you now and you 7 months ago, 94 months ago? Is there some big difference? Or are you right at the same thought process? The chance of that is very low. We tend to progress, and obviously we can progress more based on efforts or understanding, but we tend to progress. That's one good thing about time. Time tends to work in your favor unless you really damage things or don't take account of it along the way. Other than that, usually it works in your favor. Now, since the only you is you and other people are them, how much weight should you give to them? Limited. They should be giving weight to them in total. Now, we can have generosity and whatnot passing on, but for them to somehow build up your existence or showcase it in full form doesn't make complete sense, because few people are even doing this in general for themselves. The chance of them even passing it on to you and not being like a life coach or something like that is not high. So you don't want to put too much weight in the external potential help in this category. You want to put the weight in, what can I do this week, today, to represent for the being that I've been. Look at yourself from a third-party perspective. All the cool things, all the errors. If someone was watching you, what would it look like? Would it look like a continuous victory? Would it look like work in progress? It's important to see what it might be perceived as, but not give too much credit to it, just what it would look like. And whether it's positive, negative, neutral, informative, descriptive, that's all right. But you don't want to be too stuck with it. You look at it from above, perspective of some sort. When I was writing the articles on my website, Timeless Information, I didn't know when I had 70 articles that I would get to 350, or who I would connect with along the way, or the authors I would interview and they would send me books, and I didn't know that that was an early time to be doing that. I had a rough idea of some parts, but not all the parts. But if I take more of a look at what I'm doing at each part, I can see, okay, this is where I am at in the landscape. With the show right now, which you're seeing here, but we're past 400 episodes now, by the way. Cool, very cool. But also, it's nice to look at, okay, how often does that occur? What does that represent? What can be done with this framework that already exists? What does that look like on the outside? Is there expansion that can be built off that? What's the advantage of it being there versus it not being there? When you do that, then you're like, okay, I have this and this and this. Let's say you took away half of it, or 2/3 of it, or 3/4 of it. Would that be terrible? Would that be a real backtrack? Well, then that means obviously you're at somewhere far forward compared to, let's say, at 50 episodes, or without having figured something out, or pre-live streaming, as it might be. Long live the live streaming. It's good to have this sense of where you are at. That helps a lot versus a little bit going through things like this, because you can do that and it can work, but the chance of you getting through in a great way like this is much lower and will require a lot of running. Whereas while looking around, you may just be able to get to there much more clearly. That's a great point. Now, the good thing about live streaming for me is that my points come up on the spot. So this is much more my domain, and then I can share some things that matter from the right now, which I can't do as much of with authors, such as the one it'll be coming up in July, Fragmented, for example. Recently spoke with Ilana, and in our discussions, I can bring up some things, but it's more focused maybe on the book or the material or that message, whereas when it's just me talking, more likely to be free-spirited in nature in total with no context, and then have a variety of items to describe. So that hits a category of mine that fits. But we benefit highly from with individuals focused, or even with individuals and free-spirited, but bouncing off of each other. There are different ways to do things, which is cool. Because I want to tag any other or mention any other channels in this one, because I will tag those too. I will say that I watched quite a few. I'll include in this one Tom Bilyeu. Toss him in there. Wonderful guy, very direct and hard-hitting. Recent episode, he talked with somebody about AI and its potential dangers. That is still true. There are some risks to people in the future. So that one I'll include there. I don't know if I'll link the actual episode, but thought I'd mention Tom. And maybe in the next live stream, I will have more specific individuals that I'll mention it and tag. And then we'll go from there. And ideally, there can be more intermixing. So at some point, I'm having other individuals join and depart, or join on live streams on a more regular basis, or a regular basis of sorts. I'll do one more shout out actually to the dissenter, Ricardo Lopez in Portugal. He continues to do great work on philosophy and speaking with philosophers, and I think he's doing well with that. Consistent and really building up his base of what he does. Now, it's not just philosophy, there's other topics, but definitely philosophy, anthropology, psychology is a big part of his show. And I've had him on before, but maybe on again in the future to discuss some things he has figured out in recent times through talking with so many intelligent individuals. I'll leave this one here. I don't know if I'll put intros and outros on this or leave it as is. If you see them, then I was able to add them on. And if you don't see them, this is the episode in total. Glad to have you join, the viewer who is actually watching while it's live. Very cool. Glad for the support. And to those who see this after the fact on the channel, that's cool too. Look out for more of these to come. And we will talk. And we are out.